Okay, so we were having this discussion. I was gonna do the thing where I run down what the schedule is, but if you're listening to this podcast, you probably have a good idea of what the schedule looks like. We're not gonna break the news to you. So we're gonna skip all the formalities and just kind of dive right into our discussion. We were talking about the, I guess, easiness of the 49ers schedule. Their strength of schedule based on last year's records would have been, so they had the hardest schedule in the league last year. This year, based on last season's results, they have the easiest schedule in the league. But I'm not super buying into the idea that this is going to be a cakewalk schedule, because I'm not out on the Jags like a lot of people are. The Jags went 4-13 last year. I think they're pretty significantly better than 4-13. I think the Bears have improved a lot over the course of this season. The Falcons are TBD. They got a young quarterback with Michael Penix, and I don't think a team like the Titans or the Colts are going to be any good. But I do think there's a handful of games on the schedule that maybe look weaker now, that by the time we get there, they're going to look like tougher games.
Yeah, so I don't disagree with what you're saying, because so often in the league, what we think about a team in the preseason ends up not being true.
Right.
And you can obviously look at the
Speak
way we were talking
yourself,
about,
pal.
well, we can talk about how we felt about the 49ers going into last season and what ultimately ended up happening, right? Like that happens throughout the league, and every year there are teams that have high expectations that fall flat, and every year there are teams that kind of come from out of nowhere. Think of the maybe even 2019 49ers or the 2011 49ers, right? Basically coming from nowhere and being like, oh, this team's really good. So maybe there are a couple of those teams on the Niners schedule. But my first takeaway, and we knew this going in because we knew who the opponents were, man, this schedule kind of sucks. And not that, like, it sucks from the standpoint, like if you're a 49ers fan and all you care about is the Niners winning games, great schedule. They have a rest advantage, which we can talk about, which they haven't had over the last couple of years. The best teams, the best records from last season that they're going against are 10-7. They only have games against non-divisional playoff teams. They only have 2 of those games, and the Rams are the only team in the NFC West that made the playoffs last year. So from the standpoint of, if you're interested, if all you care about is the 49ers winning games, great schedule. 49ers have a bunch of easy opponents from the NFC South and the AFC South. Those are the 2 divisions you would want to face. From a how interesting are these games, at least on paper, in the middle of May perspective, the schedule sucks. There's no Eagles games, no Packers, Cowboys, Lions. Like
they're playing the 2 least interesting divisions in the sport, and then they have last place games against the AFC North and the NFC East and the NFC North. So it just kind of lends itself to what you're talking about.
It's kind of the perfect storm for, like, if you could create the most boring schedule possible, like, this is kind of it. Honestly.
Sure.
So
all right,
that kind of sucks from my perspective, because I love when it's like, oh man, Niners Cowboys, like Niners Packers, Niners Lions, Niners Eagles. Like, I love all of those games.
Right.
Niners Ravens that we got a couple years ago. Like, all of the hype and intrigue going into those games. It's like, what the most interesting non-division game is, like, oh, okay, you go play the Texans and CJ Stroud. You're going to go play Tampa. Like, all right, cool.
So I wanted to play this game. Let's rank the 49ers non-divisional games from best to worst. Is the Bears game their best non-division game?
Probably at Houston, I would say.
At Houston? Okay, so we can put Houston 1. I think a sneaky fun one is Tampa Bay.
Okay.
I think Tampa Bay's good. I think Tampa Bay might be, like, really good. I'm in on the Bucs.
Make the case.
They were good last year, and I think they drafted well, and they re-signed Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans is still there. I think Baker Mayfield's a hooper. I can't think of their running back's name right now. A kid from Oregon.
Bucky Irving.
Thank you. Yeah, they have a lot of offensive firepower, and I know that they lost Liam Cohen, their offensive coordinator, so maybe they take a little bit of a hit there. But defensively, they're always really sound. I'm a fan of the Bucks. I think they're going to be pretty good. Now, is that game interesting? TBD. But I think that'll be, at least as we kind of go down the schedule and we go throughout the year, I think that's going to be a game that turns into one where, like, we watched, I mean, a lot like the Niners Bucks game last year, where, all right, yeah, the Niners got out of there with a win, but man, it wasn't easy. You had Debo Samuel and Tabor Pepper getting into it on the sideline, and a late touchdown, and the Niners needed a late field goal to win it. It's a tough game, and I think both teams will be better this year.
Yeah. Emeka Ibuka is a really interesting first-round pick for them, I think, given the receivers they already have on the roster.
Right.
That's one of those where you're building on a strength, which we always talk about, and I always think is smart. And you add Hassan Reddick, who obviously last year was basically a lost season for him, but if they can get production from him, then their defense could potentially be interesting. But yeah, the Bucks were a division winner. They're one of the 3 10-7 teams on the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm not going to tell you that's not an intriguing game, but the fact that that's the most intriguing non-divisional game, I think is frankly kind of disappointing.
It's so I was jotting down the games here. I think Houston won. I think that's good. I think that's fine. Tampa Bay, Chicago,
DeMeco Ryans, CJ Stroud,
and Houston might just be good. Houston went down to the wire with Kansas City in the playoffs last year.
Nico Collins back healthy.
Yeah, man. I think that's a good team. So I'm fine with Houston 1. Chicago probably 2. Just Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson. There's a chance they're really good. But then Tampa Bay, it's Tampa Bay, Chicago in some order, and then it's like Jacksonville, Atlanta, Carolina. Because it's not going to be the Browns, it's not going to be the Giants. I mean, oh God.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Who's the team that had a bad record last year who is most likely to jump into potential division winning type territory?
Jacksonville.
Okay.
I think Liam Cohen is a good offensive coach, and I think he can maximize Trevor Lawrence and what the Jags have going on down there. Okay. And I think their division, Chicago is kind of in that mix too, but Chicago is not going to suddenly be better than Minnesota, Green Bay, and Detroit. They're not going to make that kind of leap. I think Jacksonville in the AFC South. I don't think the Colts are going to be very good. The Colts are trying to figure it out with Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson at quarterback. The Titans are bad and just drafted Cam Ward, who might be a good player, but I don't think the Titans are there yet roster-wise. And then it's Jacksonville and Houston. And if CJ Stroud isn't great again, or if Houston deals with some injury stuff and Jacksonville is a little bit good, they could win that division at 9-8.
You know who the team is for me that I think could actually make a leap is Atlanta.
Okay. I don't hate that.
Because I really like Jeff Ulbrich as a defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Jalen Walker guy. If Jalen Walker came in and was a first or second team All-Pro as a rookie, I would not be stunned. I think he should probably be the favorite for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. If James Pierce, I didn't love the value of the trade, but just looking at the way they upgraded their defense with Walker and Pierce,
you had a second-round grade rushers on him.
It was all character concerns. It wasn't a talent issue.
First round talent. Talking to his high school coach, you really dug deep on him. Yeah, no, that's good.
Right. They got everyone's favorite 49er Leonard Floyd as their third pass rusher.
Sure.
No, but seriously, I do think Atlanta, when I look at the roster and say who's the team that can go from sub 500 to division winners on the Niners schedule, I think Atlanta is that team, or at least the best candidate. And what's interesting about that one is the Niners play Atlanta at home and it's the one home game they have in a 5-week stretch from October 2nd to November 2nd. So basically the entire month of October, the Niners are on the road, save for one home game against Atlanta. So I think that's a really interesting game. Maybe the most interesting home game for me that the Niners have outside of the division. But to me, it's like, man, the Rams games and the Seahawks games, and maybe the Cardinals, maybe the Cardinals are the team that we're overlooking a little bit, given their draft and their offseason.
The entire NFC West is going to be pretty good.
Yeah,
I think the whole division is going to be good. Yeah,
that's fair.
Hey,
is there a stretch? Oh, go ahead.
I was literally going to get to that, but real quick, I just looked at their 2026 opponents.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I froze. Hang on. There we go. Okay, we'll fix that in post. I looked at their 2026 opponents. They have the NFC East. So you have Dallas, Philly, Washington, and the AFC West. So you get Denver, Kansas City, LA, and Las Vegas. And if the Niners win the division, they'll get probably Detroit out of the NFC North, and then they'll probably get Tampa Bay or Atlanta out of the NFC South, and then they'll probably get the Bills out of the AFC East. So
that's what I'm talking about.
That'll be your makeup schedule for whatever the hell this is.
That's what I'm talking about. Give me just last year. I remember when the schedule came out, it was like, man, so many bangers.
Yeah.
So many bangers on the schedule. Now it's like the only bangers feel like they're divisional games, which is fine.
So
if all you care about is the Niners winning, great schedule. It is a great schedule.
Yeah, top notch. If that's all we're talking about. So you mentioned last year and just that how sick the schedule was. And you tried to go through and find the toughest stretch. And it was like, yeah, man, this stretch from week 3 to week 14, there were these just monster chunks of season where it was okay. Maybe you slip I don't know. I can't even remember if they played any bad teams last year just because they weren't very good, but you'd slip one Arizona, a team you didn't expect to be very good in there, even though they were better in San Francisco. But then it was all these awesome games. This year, the toughest stretch I can find, I think, is it week 4? I'm going to assume Jacksonville is at least okay. Is it week 3 where you play Arizona, then Jacksonville, then the Rams on a short week, then at Tampa Bay for a 10 a.m. kick, and then home Falcons for Sunday Night Football at Houston? So that's weeks 3 through 8.
Yeah, and then week 9 you get at the Giants, and it sounds like there's a good chance the Niners will practice somewhere on the East Coast.
I'd be pretty surprised.
Or at least away. Yeah, maybe Ohio or Florida or the Greenbrier in West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Between Houston and New York.
I would be shocked. I'm not going to say floored. I'd be pretty shocked if they didn't do that. Although, does Jed want to spend that money? Who's to say?
I mean, Jed did just sell 6% of the team for $500 million.
6% for $500 million. That's insane.
The Warriors, when Joe Lacob bought the Warriors, what was it, 2010? He bought them for $450 million. So Joe Lacob paid less than about 5% what the Niners are worth.
For the entire Warriors that already had Steph Curry on it.
Although the Warriors are probably worth something like $7-8 billion too. So
I saw $9.4 billion in a recent estimate.
Yeah, because they do own their own arena in downtown San Francisco. But yeah, the valuation, and we don't need to really talk about this because I don't think there's a lot to talk about here. But the valuation has the Niners at $8.5 billion.
For those of you, hang the banner, man.
Well, it also goes to show a team that's selling 6% for $500 million. They're not releasing Leonard Floyd and Malik Collins because they're cash poor or they're
Right.
trying to save on cash. It's like, no, there are legitimate salary cap reasons to do this.
Sure.
Like, yes, the salary cap is in fact maneuverable. And in many cases you can say, man, the salary cap sure seems fake given the way these teams do these contracts. But eventually those credit card bills become due and you got to pay them off. And that's what the 49ers did this offseason. So anyway, that's my only tangent. Yeah, man, I think what's the most interesting stretch for you? So that's the toughest stretch because of all the road games. Is that the most interesting stretch for you also?
Yeah, Bucks, Falcons, Texans. I think there's a chance that winds up being three good teams. I don't know if they all three make the playoffs, but three good teams. I also think the stretch after the bye, where they do play the Titans, but then they're at the Colts for Monday Night Football. Then they got to come home to play the Bears, who play the Saturday before, and then you finish the season against the Seahawks. There's a chance that stretch is kind of interesting, but the Colts might just be ass, which would take some of the fun out of that one.
Yeah.
But man, I just don't like, I want, like, they play back-to-back division games, weeks 10 and 11 against the Rams and Cardinals. That's the Panthers on Monday Night Football. It's like, all right, but are the Panthers going to be good? Or is Bryce Young just not trash? Like, there's a pretty wide, I think there's a huge gap between, the Panthers are good now, and Bryce Young isn't an unplayable NFL player. There's a massive gray area between those two things, right? So part of me wants to go, okay, at Giants, but I don't think the Giants, like, Russell Wilson's not saving the Giants. Giants might have a really good defense. That might be a really good group with Abdul Carter and Dexter Lawrence. That might be Kayvon Thibodeau still there, but that might be a good group. But I can't. Like, is that an interesting game? Not right now.
Yeah, I think it's just not a super.
I'm trying really difficult to come up with compelling storylines here in May.
Can we talk about the bye placement?
Yeah.
It's the week 14 bye. So it'll be basically the first week of December, which is the latest the Niners have ever had it. And I believe it's the latest the league allows or the league gives teams buys. And I actually really like it for the Niners because you get the bye week and then conceivably you can try to play your best football through the final 4 games of the season. Right? Because it's going to get down to, like, if the Niners are making a playoff push, I think having the bye as close to the playoffs as possible could be beneficial, particularly if they're not going to get the 1 seed. And look, I'm assuming the 49ers are going to be a lot better than last year, and I do think they will be. But if they're in the playoff mix and they're not going to be in the mix for the 1 seed, then having the week 14 bye will be beneficial if you do end up making the playoffs.
If let's go to the world real quick, and I think the peril of that, of course, is you have some guys who are older and guys who are injury prone, and you're playing 13 consecutive weeks of football.
Yeah,
and that might be tough. But to your point, if let's say they get to that bye week and maybe they lose, maybe something weird happens and they lose at Cleveland, right? Because they'll have the 1 day off or the 1 day less after Monday Night Football. They got to travel to Cleveland, 10 a.m. start. We saw that literally happen 2 years ago, where they went to Minnesota for Monday Night Football, then had to travel back to Cleveland and got smoked in Cleveland. Well, not smoked, but didn't play well in Cleveland. So let's say something weird happens, and we're just like, they just need the bye week. They need to get to the bye week, get healthy, and they'll be good. There's a chance if they're in the mix for the 1 seed, if everything falls their way, and they get the 1 seed, that between December 7th and January 18th, they will play 4 football games. That would be a really, really big deal for a team that has had injury problems, particularly to its star players, going into the playoffs. So I think they would prefer. I think they would absolutely prefer that to week 3.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, I would rather ideally you get the bye in the middle of the season.
Sure.
But I would rather have it at the end than the beginning.
Yeah, I'm right there. I'm right there with you.
So
I have two more things on this.
mm-hmm.
I know that we just went through a whole thing where they don't have a ton of interesting, like, compelling storylines as far as matchups go, or Super Bowl contenders among their non-division games.
As of May, we might be
as
looking
of May,
at a
right?
Falcons Jags Super Bowl.
Totally, you can bet on that for sure if you'd like, but I thought the selection of primetime games is really odd.
Okay.
I thought, okay, Tampa Bay could be a primetime game. Any division game plays, obviously. Tampa Bay works. I think they're going to be pretty good. Houston, obviously, with the D'Amico Ryans angle. Chicago is a primetime game. I think that's a fun one. But you can throw the Giants in primetime. The Giants are going to be in primetime anyway. Niners, Giants, there's some history there. But Panthers on Monday Night Football? Really? That's it. Falcons on Sunday night? Okay, maybe if the Falcons are good, okay, I guess I see the vision. But Colts Monday night? I don't know.
Throughout
it feels like a lot of their real quick. It feels like a lot of their primetime games are the games I would have listed like last if I was selecting games to be in primetime. Go ahead, sorry.
I haven't gone through all of the Monday night games, but historically it feels like all of the best matchups are Sunday night throughout the league, and then Monday night is kind of like the sort of oddball, like random. Like Monday Night Football, a lot of times it's like kind of the novelty matchup.
That makes sense.
Oh, these two teams are 3,000 miles apart and haven't played each other in a few years. Let's throw them on Monday Night Football without really like
Christian McCaffrey's first time.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey's first time playing the Panthers, right?
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, the Yetur Gross-Matos revenge game.
Yeah, throw the records out, man. Did you watch the schedule video from the 49ers?
I did, yeah.
You sat through the whole thing?
I did.
What a trooper. So I want to say 2 things about it. One, the premise was fine. I didn't the like video game 8-bit premise thing is whatever.
Oregon Trail. You were probably too
Oregon Trail. No, Oregon Trail is what I. No, I played Oregon Trail. It wasn't quite that because the person was playing like on an arcade game. So it wasn't Oregon Trail. Anyways, doesn't matter. That type of vibe, right? If you're going to go that route, make it funny. The Saints are coming. Let them march by. What? No. Make fun of the Saints. Oh, the Rams. Oh, nice. Division opponent. They're going to dunk on the Rams so hard. Let them graze. Like, what? What is this? Be petty. Don't be like awful. Don't make obviously like personal jokes that are going to offend people, but take a little friendly jab at your opponent. Every other team seems to be able to do that, and the 49ers are like, the Saints are coming. Let's let them march by. Like, what? This stupid thing. I punted after week 4. I had to check out.
Yeah, I think, and this is no shade to anybody on any NFL social team or production team who makes these things.
No, it's very well produced.
The wave of schedule release content has missed me the last couple years.
Yeah.
I did enjoy did you see the Buffalo Bills one?
No. I don't. I literally couldn't care less about the schedule release videos.
Yeah, so I'm with you on that. But I did see the Bills one.
Okay.
And someone I think it was Brandon Bean, the Bills GM. He calls up Josh Allen on the phone. He's like, we're doing a schedule release video. What do you think I should do? And Josh Allen says, dude, just use AI. Like, that sounds like an easy thing for AI to handle.
Okay.
And then he calls Allen Iverson. And Allen Iverson,
That's hilarious.
is on the phone and then shows the schedule, and they're like, can we get a go Bills? And Iverson, Philly guy, obviously not going to be like go Bills. He's like, go Josh Allen or something. And I was like, all right, that's
fun.
That's a good one. You got the topical generational gap humor. You get to throw a random really cool celebrity in the video. I get that one was good.
AI's Q rating is so high. That's a smart move. I guess the Chargers one was really good.
Q rating or the artificial intelligence?
Allen Iverson's Q rating.
Sure.
I'm not going to say anything about artificial intelligence, so it doesn't murder me in my sleep. Shout out to both AIs. I guess the Chargers one was really good. The Chargers built their schedule release video in Minecraft, but they didn't have a graphics person create this fake Minecraft world. They actually had multiple people who played Minecraft, and they did this all in-house and built the entire thing. It took one of their social people posted about it online. It took over 500 hours to put this thing together. It's just unbelievable. That's great. That's great work. It's fun. It's creative. And then at one point, there's a QR code that flashes on the screen. And when you go to the QR code, you have to keep clicking next, and it keeps saying all these funny things oop, you almost had it. Oh, don't give up now. And then when you get to the last one, it just says L. Very, very Gen Z humor.
I'm just wrapping my mind around 500 hours. Is that...
That's such a long time.
I guess I'll need to go watch that one.
Because it's 30,000 minutes.
Did they need to know the schedule? What did they know the schedule the entire time they were working on that? Because that feels like a 3-month project. Or were they able to just kind of plug in the games?
That I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with Minecraft. Okay. I probably should have saved this take until I was more familiar with the game. But from the reactions, the Chargers are usually the big winners of schedule release day. Here we go. 500 plus. This is from Megan Julian, who works for, she's the director of social, senior director of social and digital for the Chargers. 500 plus combined hours in game from our crew of Minecrafters. 3, sometimes 5 meetings a week with our writers room group. Countless Slack messages, text, blah, blah, blah. Everything done in-house. They didn't hire anyone outside the building to do this.
Well, good for them.
It's incredible. The other thing I wanted to say about the Niners video is they had to cut the end of the video out and post it as a separate video because nobody watched to the end of their video, where I think they teased that the Niners are getting a new jersey.
Yeah.
And I think I have a take. I think it's going to be cream colored.
Oh, I wouldn't hate that actually. Like a all cream, like a road uniform.
Yeah,
I wouldn't hate that. I don't.
That's what I think is. That's what I think is coming.
Depending on the execution. Yeah, the rebranding thing was kind of weird.
A visual refresh, I believe they called it. Yeah.
I hope they go to the striped socks.
Do you have any reason to believe they're going to, or is this just you're trying to manifest? You're hoping
I feel like it kind of aligns with the rebrand because it's like history of innovation, and they got Bill Walsh and Joe Montana, and Joe is wearing the striped socks in that picture. So I feel like this is that because it doesn't feel like they're completely rebranding the jerseys. They don't need to. That would be a giant mistake.
I agree.
But I do think the socks have been kind of a problem, particularly with the throwback all-white uniforms. I despise the look. I feel like it ruins the whole thing. I love the throwback uniforms, the way they wore them in 1994, but I despise the way they look when you have the red home uniforms, the white pants, and the white socks. I think that is just a calamity of the highest degree. I think it is a sartorial felony. And if they were to correct it with the striped socks, even just on the regular home reds and on the 94 throwbacks, if they keep them, and on these potential cream colored uniforms that you mentioned, I think that would be an A+ decision.
Okay. Hopefully somebody from the 49ers is listening and taking all this into account. Salute to whoever from the 49ers listens to this podcast. Yeah, I think they made the visual refresh enough of a thing, and they made it a point to make sure everybody saw the end of the video where this like box drops onto the floor.
Right, coming soon.
Yeah, so they introduced, or I don't know if it was introduced a new color, and it's kind of a little bit of an off-white. I forget the exact name of it. I'm not going to scroll through and find it right now, but
yeah. If they
I'm sorry, Heritage Cream is what it's called.
Well, if you have any Heritage Cream in your fridge, make sure you throw that stuff out right now. But if they do like a minor like tweak and add a little bit maybe to like an alternate road uniform and have like kind of a cream situation, or maybe like they replace the 94 throwback pants with like a cream colored, like I think that could be interesting.
Okay.
But as long as it's minor, like if they do something like adding drop shadows to the uniforms, or like black, like if they add black jerseys, like
oh god, they can't do another black jersey, bro.
They can't. They were so bad, just awful. If they do that, they will be. I mean, it would. I wouldn't expect them to make the playoffs if that happens.
We'll redo this schedule conversation.
Yeah. Niners are fighting in their weight class all season long against these 4-13 teams.
Hey, do you know how you know the black uniform sucked? Every single person. Don't say anything. I'm going to write something down. Hang on. Every single person has the exact same memory of the black uniforms. If I said, hey, when I say 49ers black uniforms, what's the one thing that you think of when you think of the...
Is it opening night, Jim Tom Sula, Monday night?
Kind of.
What is it?
It's a little more specific than that. Is there a play that comes to mind?
Is it like Carlos Hyde's like spinning? Hell yeah.
It's a Carlos Hyde spin move. It's exactly what I wrote down. That's the one good play that happened in those stupid black jerseys.
The highlight of Carlos Hyde's career.
It really was.
Yeah. Shouts to Carlos.
Yeah. OH, baby. Yeah, so I'm interested to see what's actually coming from the 49ers uniform-wise, whether it's a new helmet or a new uniform or both. I'm fascinated.
No new helmets, no black uniforms, no all red. Like if they went like red pants. Ugh.
When I say new uniform, new helmet, I mean to go with an alternate uniform.
Yeah. I could see them maybe they have like a cream colored helmet to go with like an all cream jersey with just like
cream all the way
gold
up.
accents. Heritage cream. Yeah, that shit expired, man. Throw that Heritage cream out.
I got 2%, or I got this Heritage cream.
No, I'm good. You throw that in your coffee, though. I'm sure it'll go great.
Nice and chunky.
I
think that's all I got. I think that's all I got on the schedule.
Me too. Striped socks. Let's cross our fingers for some
fingers crossed. We'll see. All right, subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Candlestick Chronicles Podcast, or just search Candlestick Chronicles. We're right there. Candlestick Chronicles also available wherever you get your podcasts, where you do listen, subscribe, rate, review. We'd appreciate the heck out of that. Tell your friends. I'll have more off-season content coming for you. Chris, got anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.